Hey, welcome back to SocioSimplified, your study buddies for A Level Sociology. We've been building up the families and households topic week by week. Last time we did the fifth thesis. This week we are tackling one of the big debates in the topic. Is the nuclear family still the dominant family structure, or do we now live in a world of family diversity where no single type is dominant? Two sides, lots of theories. Let's break it down. Chapter 1. The case for nuclear family dominance. 5 theories argue that despite all the changes in modern society, the nuclear family remains the dominant structure. Let's go through each one. First, Parsons and Goode. You'll recognize these two from last week's fifth thesis video. Their argument here is about structural differentiation. As industrial society developed, other institutions started taking over the functions that the extended family used to perform. Hospitals took healthcare, schools took education, the welfare state took poverty relief. This meant the extended family was no longer needed. Its functions were stripped away. What was left? The leaner, more mobile, more efficient nuclear family, which became the dominant structure of modern industrial society. Next up, we have Leach and his concept of the cereal packet family. Think about the families you see on TV advertisements: cornflakes, washing powder, car insurance. What does that family look like? A happily married couple, male breadwinner, female carer, with 2 or 3 children, everyone smiling, everything perfect. Leach calls this the cereal packet family, the idealized nuclear family image that dominates advertising and media. It's not just how companies choose to sell products, it's a reflection of what society considers as normal. The nuclear family is so embedded in our cultural imagination that it's become the default image of family life. That's a form of dominance. Third is Chester and the neo-conventional family. Chester argued that critics of nuclear family dominance are too quick to say it's declining. Yes, things have changed, but what they've changed into is essentially nuclear. He identified 2 forms of the neo-conventional family. The traditional structure, the classic married couple with children, is still the most common household type. The dual worker, both parents work, the structure is still nuclear, but roles have adapted to fit modern life. Chester's point is that even when families look different on the surface, they are still fundamentally nuclear. The nuclear family hasn't disappeared, it's rather evolved. Fourth, we have Murdock and the Convergence thesis. Murdock studied 250 human societies and defined the family as having 4 essential features. Remember that from the first video? His very definition assumed the nuclear family. His Convergence thesis takes this further. As all societies modernize and industrialize, they converge towards the same dominant structure. The nuclear family isn't just dominant in the West. Murdock argues it becomes the sole prevailing form globally as societies form. Nuclear family as universal. That's a bold claim, and one critics definitely push back on. Fifth, we have the Young and Willmott and the Symmetrical family. Their argument is that the nuclear family isn't just surviving, it's improving. In the modern nuclear family, roles between husband and wife are becoming more equal. Both go out to work, both share housework, both share childcare. They call this the symmetrical family, and they saw it as the dominant and emerging norm of modern family life. So, for Willmott and Young, nuclear isn't just dominant, it's becoming fairer and better suited to modern values, a positive evolution, not a decline. But not everyone agrees. Chapter 2 makes the opposite case. Now that we live in an era of genuine family diversity and no single structure can be called dominant anymore, the most important framework here comes from the Rapoports. The Rapoports identified 5 types of family diversity that exist in modern society. These are the right 5 different family structures. They are 5 dimensions of difference that show just how varied family life can be. Social diversity clause, life cycle diversity, organizational diversity, cohort diversity, and cultural diversity. Let's go through each one separately. Social class diversity, that is, different social classes organize family life differently. O'Neill found that 9 out of 10 single parent families are female headed and they are predominantly working class. The experience of family is shaped heavily by economic position. Young and Willmott, yes, the same theories we just saw, found a class split too. Middle class families tend to be symmetrical with shared roles. Working class families tend to have more segregated conjugal roles where women and men are doing separate, distinct tasks. Lareau went further. Upper and middle class parents tend to be more child centered with deliberate, structured parenting styles. Working class children tend to grow more spontaneously with less structured involvement. And Raey et al. Found that middle class women are significantly more active in managing their children's education, attending meetings, speaking to teachers, pushing for resources. Same society, very different family experiences based on your class. Life cycle diversity. From Foster, the idea that family structure changes at different points in a person's life. Stage 1, the pre-family. A couple household, 2 adults, no children yet. Stage 2, family. Children are added. This is the classic nuclear structure. Stage 3, post-family. So children leave the empty nest phase, or in modern times, boomerang kids, adult children who return home because they can't afford to live independently. The point is that the same person might live in 3 completely different family structures over their lifetime. So when you ask what type of family do people live in, the answer changes depending on when you ask. Organizational diversity, there's different structural types of family nowadays. So single parents families, UK stats show a massive rise from just 2% of households in 1961 to 2 million single parent families by 2012. That's not a niche family form anymore. Reconstituted families, step families, and blended families are the fastest growing family type in both Europe and the USA. Duff and Slater highlight a specific challenge in reconstituted families: the strained relationships between step parents and stepchildren, driven by conflicting expectations of what a natural parent versus a step parent should be. And the blended family takes this further, where parents in a new marriage decide to have biological children together, combining children from previous relationships with new ones, a genuinely complex family structure. Organizational diversity, there's different structural types of family nowadays. So single parents families, UK stats show a massive rise from just 2% of households in 1961 to 2 million single parent families by 2012. That's not a niche family form anymore. Reconstituted families, step families, and blended families are the fastest growing family type in both Europe and the USA. Duff and Slater highlight a specific challenge in reconstituted families: the strained relationships between step parents and stepchildren, driven by conflicting expectations of what a natural parent versus a step parent should be. And the blended family takes this further, where parents in a new marriage decide to have biological children together, combining children from previous relationships with new ones, a genuinely complex family structure. Now, 2 key perspectives on the diversity debate. Thorne criticizes what she calls the monolithic image of family, the idea that focusing on the nuclear family as the family neglects all other structures and makes them seem abnormal or lesser. This monolithic image, she argues, supports patriarchy. It represents the male breadwinner, female carer model as natural and ideal, which limits women's roles and reinforces gender inequality. Thorne says this image is fundamentally wrong. The new right takes the opposite view, For the new right, the nuclear family is the ideal, specifically because it provides a stable adult relationship for raising children. Morgan warns that cohabitation is problematic, it's unstable, and more likely to involve domestic abuse compared to marriage. Murray goes further with his concept of the underclass, arguing that single parent families, particularly those dependent on state welfare, are producing children more likely to be involved in criminal activities, a deeply controversial but exam related argument. Finally, the postmodernist perspective, which embraces diversity entirely. Postmodernists argue that life evolves and changes, and so do families. There is no single correct family form. Diversity is the new normal. Hareven talks about the stages of a life course, flexibility and diversity in family forms across a lifetime. Weeks et al. Highlights same-sex couples and chosen families as fully valid, meaningful family structures, not exceptions to the norm, but part of the diverse landscape of modern family life. And Macionis and Plummer point to new reproductive technologies as evidence of how radically family is changing. Their famous case, Arlette Schweitzer, who acted as a surrogate mother for her own daughter, meaning she was both the surrogate mother and the grandmother of the children she carried. Technology is creating family relationships that don't even have names yet. Postmodernists say, stop trying to define the dominant family. There isn't one, and that's fine. Big topic today. Let's bring it all together. The case for nuclear dominance, Parsons and Goode, structural differentiation, Leach, the serial packet family in advertising, Chester, the neo-conventional forms, traditional and dual worker, Murdock, the convergence thesis, nuclear as universal, Young and Willmott, the symmetrical family. The case for family diversity now. The Rapoports 5 types: social class, life cycle, organizational, cohort, and cultural. Key perspectives. Thorne says the monolithic image supports patriarchy. The new right says nuclear is ideal. Morgan on cohabitation, Murray on the underclass. Postmodernists say diversity is the new normal. Hareven, Weeks et al. And Macionis and Plummer on new reproductive technology. That's nuclear family dominance versus family diversity, fully covered for your A-level exam. If this video helped, like it. It takes 1 second and it genuinely helps the channel grow. Subscribe for the full families and households playlist. We are building this topic out video by video. And comment below, do you think the nuclear families is still dominant or has diversity taken over? I want to know what you think. Next video is gonna be on functions of the family, the functionalist perspective on what the family actually does for society. Hit the bell below and subscribe. Thank you.